I see so often, and this was me for 15 years of my corporate career, while I was an elite professional inside of the office, I was beyond amateur hour in my personal life. And if you can simply just take away this thought process of, can I be more of a professional, ... in my personal life? Will I get better results? I'll tell you what the answer is, 1000% yes. My name is Brian Pannuzzo. I'm an executive coach that helps successful financial professionals get wealthy outside of the office in their mind, their body, and their relationships. I'm an expert at this because I did it myself. I sat inside of corporate America in a seat, just like one that you do, for 20 years. If I can do it, so can you. Welcome back to the show. My name is Brian. This is the Success Lift Podcast. Happy Mother's Day to all the amazing moms out there. All the moms that listen. I have been picking up more and more female listeners as we continue to do more work inside of corporate America. Obviously, corporate America is balanced, fairly balanced between male and female. And although much of my one-on-one work is done with males, I work with a ton of females. I work with my wife's clients inside of her fertility consultant business. I work with teams of executives inside of corporate America. We are just starting today. Well, I guess technically we started last week when we kicked off our meeting with them. And then yesterday, our weeks start on Sunday, not Monday. That's a big deal. It's a big deal. Start your week and start treating Sunday like it's Monday and watch your performance for the week go up. But week one of our program with a new team of elite professionals just started yesterday, the time of this recording dropping. And I'm pumped. I cannot wait to get going with this group. We have another group currently going through the program. We have room for one more organization to come on board in the month of May. And so if you're listening to me, if you run a team of 10-ish, 10, 15, 8, 6, 12, something in that neighborhood, if you have a team of professionals that you know would benefit from becoming more productive, more energetic, more in control of their lives inside and out of the office, maybe get a little bit more fit, maybe focus a little bit more on, their mental performance, we should talk, because our program, High Performance Health, is soon going to be taking over corporate America. This is going to be a big area of focus inside of my business. I will not stop working one-on-one with people, but we're going to be pushing more and more into corporate America because, as I say in the little intro, it's where I have a massive competitive advantage. I literally sat in a seat just like you do. And so I transformed my life in that seat. That's another misconception I think some people have. They see me now in my new life as this executive coach, life coach, health coach, whatever you want to call me and what I do. And, I work from an office in my home and I'm able to move around on calls and I can, take my business and travel with it and still stay connected. I don't have to be at a desk anymore for 10 hours a day. And so it must be easier to do it now. Well, maybe aspects of my life are easier to execute on now because of what I've created. But the point is that I did it all sitting in your seat. I did it all going out a couple of nights a week for client dinners. I did it all having to travel once in a while for business. I did it all being a husband who, quite frankly, was trying to repair a marriage that was on the brink of divorce. I did it while I was coaching sports and being around my kids as a busy dad on the weekends. And so the point is literally when I say, I'm an expert at it because I did it myself. If I can do it, so can you. I mean, that is not a tagline. It's not a catchy phrase. That is the truth. I did it inside of a high pressure environment in corporate America, inside of corporate America. And if I can do it, you can do it too. And so I'm pumped to get started with this new group. I'm pumped for them to experience a new way of living their life. And that's one of the things, I wanted to sort of stretch on from what I talked about last week and the cost of your success and the price that you are either have been unknowingly, hopefully not after last week, unknowingly paying, or more appropriately and more likely, in my opinion, you've felt like you've been paying this price. You've known about it. It's been around your consciousness and awareness now, maybe for several years, yet you haven't quite taken a step to begin to make a change. And although I know you can make a change immediately starting today, you could hire somebody, you could get inside of a program with an expert who knows exactly what you should be doing. But even if you don't do that, I think you can look at what we're going to talk about today and start to implement a few of these things. And it's really just one overarching 30,000 foot concept that I have distilled down, hopefully in your language, because again, I still think like you do. And it's this concept of being a pro, all right? You are a high performing professional. You are incredibly good at what you do. You have accumulated this success over decades because of the effort and the intention and the structure and the planning that you've put in, the grit that you've shown, and we're going to talk about all those things. Because you've done it day in, day out, week in, week out, year in, year out. Yet I see so often, and this was me for 15 years of my corporate career, while I was an elite professional inside of the office, I was beyond amateur hour in my personal life. And if you can simply just take away this thought process of, can I be more of a professional, ... in my personal life? Will I get better results? I'll tell you what the answer is. 1000% yes. And when we think about what that means to be a professional in our professional lives, what are we doing a lot of, right? We operate our lives oftentimes on a calendar. Now, I know I work with a lot of financial professionals. Some of my financial professionals are financial advisors, are portfolio managers, are family office, run family offices. They have more of your traditional like calendars, calls, meetings, schedules. Then I have an entire group of financial professionals that are working on trading desks. A calendar didn't freaking exist in my world for the most part. You had structured meetings here and there, but it's like you got on the desk, you were in your environment, and you were just absolutely dodging knives thrown at you for most of the day, figuring out what was coming next. And so some of those people, this calendar concept is not necessarily going to resonate with you, but for 95% of the world, it's a very common thought. Like you operate your day based on a calendar. Now, for my people who don't do that on a calendar, you still have very structured aspects of your day. You have the morning meeting, then you hit the desk, you make all your calls, you get all the axes out, you get responses in. Like it's very structured. It just doesn't appear to have as much structure as maybe someone who goes from 8 a.m. call to 8:30 call to 9:30 meeting to, you get the point. So we plan out our days as a busy professional. All right, I'm going to use that. I'm going to say it that way because I want you to think about being a professional. As a busy professional, we plan out our days. We obviously have structure around that day. We know when we're going to have our meetings, our calls, when we're going to have deep work time, so on and so forth. We probably, at least you probably spend a little bit of time either last night or first thing this morning taking a look at that calendar. You don't usually just go into the office and wait until 2 minutes before the next block of time and say, what are we doing? What's next? You typically have an idea of what your calendar looks like for the day. You know if it's going to be a lot of calls. You know if it's going to be a lot of in-person meetings. You know if it's going to be a lot of Zoom calls. You know if you're going to be traveling on the road. if it's fairly open. You have visibility into what your calendar looks like, and you put intention around being prepared for some of those commitments. So back to my financial advisor, wealth management role. If you know you have a client coming in, you're going to prepare for the meeting. You don't just sit down and go, what do you guys want to talk about? Right? If it's a important quarterly review, or if it's a new client that's coming in to potentially do business with you, you don't just wing the proposal. All right? You don't just put together the pitch last minute. You have structure around this. You have intention. The next thing you do on a regular basis at work is you adapt. You adapt to the chaos that is likely going to show up today. You know that there will be curveballs and fires and whatever analogy you want to use, because there always are. And you have enough evidence to support that you're capable of handling them because you've handled them for the last decade or two. And so when the next one comes up, sure, it'll frustrate you, but you know you'll get through it because you have an undeniable body of evidence. Recently, I told clients, some of my one-on-one clients, I talked to them about irrefutable proof and having evidence, which is what builds confidence for you. Well, you can't tell me I'm not someone who cares for and puts a ton of time and intention into my mental and physical performance. Can't tell me. I got too much evidence to support it. And so we put time and intention around these things. We develop a body of evidence. So the next thing that comes down your desk, comes onto your desk, you can handle it. You can adapt. You are ready to handle all the things coming your way. Probably not enough, but oftentimes we audit at work. We have regularly scheduled meetings that we're part of. We're constantly looking for what's working and what's not working. We're changing the things that aren't working. We're doing more of what is. We're looking for that edge to take our businesses to the next level from where they are right now. And then finally, what you're doing on a regular basis, I know for a fact, is you're doing it anyway. You're exhibiting the characteristic of grit. You're having what some of my friends from New Jersey would call testicular fortitude, for all my males out there. You're showing up when you don't want to, despite being tired, despite being stressed, despite having things going on in your personal life, despite all the BS that's happening at the office. You're showing up, despite that client that's just a pain in the ass. They're not even doing what you asked them to do, and then they're being a pain in the ass. You're showing up. You're doing it anyway. Because you feel obligated, because it's your identity, because you know you need to make money. You value what you do, what you produce for a living. You have developed a sense of worth around that. All of those things I just mentioned, having a plan, being more structured, having intention, adapting constantly, auditing, adjusting, and having some grit. You could just take all those things that you do inside your professional life, and you could start to do more of those in your personal life. If you feel like your success inside of corporate America has come at a cost, if you can just take this high-level thought process, how do I become more of a professional in my personal life? What does that look like, Brian? Let's dig into some of these things. What would planning look more like in my personal life? Brian, you understand that kids' schedules are crazy and the weekends are nuts and I always have stuff going on at night. Like, is it really that different though? Like, are the things that are causing you to feel a bit chaotic in your life personally, are they that different? Here's the thing that I find with most people that I work with and in my own life. History repeats itself. And so, yes, my weekends personally, as a busy father of almost two teenage kids, one teenager, one 10-year-old, kids with busy schedules, sports all weekend, we go to church as a family, we have personal commitments. I want to get some of my own stuff done on the weekends. My wife's always got a list of stuff that I'm supposed to do for us. But like, does that combination of events, does that really look any different week to week? Like, is it really that different? You know, if I'm out at a gymnastics tournament or a volleyball tournament for my daughter, is that really different than sitting at 4 baseball games on a Saturday or a Sunday? It's not that different, is it? And so planning what's going to happen this week is a really big part of your success. In all of my programs, one-on-one, and my group programs inside of corporate America, on Sundays, on the weekends, sometimes it's Saturdays, we complete something I call your ACP, your accountability, your commitment, and your preparation. It's a weekly check-in. It's a way for you to hold yourself accountable to you, to me. It's a way for you to review, audit, right? One of those things we do in our business, a way for you to audit what it is you did last week. Are you happy with those results? What could you do differently? What could you learn? Where can you improve your performance? Are there any things that are on this loop, this habit loop that we're doing that are like, oh yeah, like I have that again next Saturday. I have to be at baseball at the same time next Saturday. It's just in a different place. But I won't be home until 4 p.m. and I'm leaving at 7 a.m. just like last Saturday. So what similarities are there? What can I do differently? Does it require me to get up early to get a workout in before I leave? Or do I even have that option because we're leaving too early? What food will I be consuming? How will I be spending my time? Will I just be sitting the entire time, or could I move around and maybe do some push-ups and lunges and get some steps in? What type of places will we be able to go? There's all these questions that you can ask that look, when you drill down to it, or I guess maybe reverse up higher, chunk up enough, it's exactly the same. I say to people I work with all the time, you are a unique individual. There's nobody out there like you, but your problems are generic. They're just like mine. They're just like the 45 one-on-one clients I have, the 2 groups of 10 to 12 team members that I'm working with. They're just like them. You're not special. You are special, but your problems ain't. They ain't special. Sorry to burst your bubble. And so we got to start putting more planning and intention and structure around our personal lives. What does that look like? Inside my program, we call it scheduling you. So this weekend, you would have spent a few minutes making sure you are strategically entering yourself into your calendar. And if you don't use a calendar, cool, I don't give a damn. But you gotta have commitments on when it is you are going to spend time on you. That means workouts. That means meditation. That means any sort of personal care that you enjoy. That means putting yourself on your calendar so that you are connecting with friends and family. Because work is constantly gonna be there. And it's only going to get busier the more the week moves on. And so if you are going to try to or hope to get a workout in on Thursday afternoon, sometime after work, before a potential client meeting, there is so much soft language in there. Do you see what I'm talking about? You could see why it just doesn't happen. It most of the time doesn't happen. Instead, if I make a commitment to myself and to others in a group that I don't want to let down, that I'm going to work out Monday morning, Tuesday afternoon, Thursday morning, Friday morning, it's in stone. It's written down. I've made a commitment. Can these commitments shift based on things that come up? Of course they can. I tell clients all the time, on Sunday, our Monday and Tuesday commitments should pretty much be in pen, maybe even black Sharpie. Maybe Wednesday and Thursday is in pencil. But as we get closer, so what do we do during our work week? When Monday comes, we look at Tuesday. When Tuesday comes, we start to look at Wednesday and Thursday. We start to think ahead. And we don't think ahead in our personal lives. And so once Tuesday, Monday, and Tuesday come, you should start to be thinking about Wednesday and Thursday and turning some of those pencil commitments into pen and then into permanent magic marker. But you have to have more planning, more structure, and more intention. This takes 5 minutes, maybe 10, maybe 10. Could you imagine if you just spent 5 minutes each night looking at your calendar, looking at where you're going to have a few holes in your day, going and clawing back? I have clients who have multiple assistants or multiple people that have access to their calendar. If you're listening to me right now and you have multiple people who have access to your calendar and you are waking up and finding meetings on your calendar or looking at your calendar this morning and seeing that tomorrow looks pretty wide open, and then all of a sudden, sometime this afternoon, 3 new meetings have been booked on your calendar. That is your fault. That is not theirs. We go into that calendar and we claw back that time. So it is your responsibility, or you just have your most trusted assistant go in and do it for you. Every 24 hours, go look at my calendar. When you see a half-hour block, within reason, when you see a half-hour block that's not booked, schedule that time for me. And you start to claw back. And what do you do with that time? Whatever you freaking want, whatever you need to. Maybe it's time spending on your business. Maybe it's going to get a walk-in. Maybe it's calling your spouse. Maybe it's just like chilling out for a little while. Maybe it's doing deep work in the business. I don't know. My point is that we are being pushed around by other people in our calendar, and you're not taking as much control over your own life as you can. You are far more in control than you give yourself credit for. Here's another thing that we don't do. We don't spend 5 minutes thinking about what's going to go in our mouth, like this coffee that I'm having right now. We spend all day busting from meeting to meeting to meeting to meeting. And then 30 seconds before it's time to eat, when we're tired, when we're stressed, when we're hungry as hell, we go, I got to get lunch, but I have a meeting in 6 minutes. Crap. I'll just grab the trail mix. Or, oh yeah, there's pizza on the desk from somebody else who ordered, or there's leftover sandwiches. I'll just grab one of those. We don't put any thought and intention into what's going to go in our body. And if you did that, if you made a few commitments previous night, first thing in the morning, pretty sure you'd make some better choices. And so you have to start treating some of the things that you want to get better at like you would your professional life. You've got to be a pro in these aspects of your personal life. You got to adapt. When things go wrong in your professional life, you adapt. When things go wrong in our personal life, we have light switches, not dimmer switches. That was another message I delivered to my clients recently. You say you're all or nothing. It is the biggest crock of, bullshit I've ever heard. You're not all or nothing. You showed up to work last week when you didn't want to. And so when something goes wrong and you can't get to the gym for 60 minutes, you completely do a 180 and it's like you sit on the couch and do nothing. Well, like you had 26 minutes. You didn't have 60, but you had 20. You get a pretty darn good workout in 20 minutes. Like, what can you do? Stop saying you're all or nothing. Stop completely going back to the start of the journey when you just made one wrong turn and all you got to do is get back on the highway and start driving again. And so we have to adapt. And when we adapt, we have to use little concepts that we use inside my programs, like this concept of daily snacking. What can you snack on that isn't a meal? If you don't have time for a meal, make it a snack. That could be exercise. That could be meditation. That could be a quick text or a quick call to a friend. That could be whatever it is you want it to be. You have more time than you're giving yourself credit for. You're just not using it appropriately. And I'll show you how to do that. And lastly, like I mentioned, every once in a while, you just got to suck it up and do it. You have grit. You have exhibited in your professional life for decades. You get up and go to work when you don't want to. Another thing I tell my clients, what you want most is often going to conflict with what you want right now. These two things are going to butt heads. Of course, I love the way I look and feel. I do enjoy going to the gym. I do enjoy walking a lot. You know what else I enjoy? Laying on the couch, watching sports. Eating garbage. I don't enjoy the way it makes me feel, but in the moment, I love it. Just like you do. But what I want most is way more important than that. The goals that I have, how I want to look, who I want to show up as, who I want to impact, the income that I want to produce, the impact that I want to have is way more important than having Dorito dust in my belly button on the couch. And so those two things will come to a crossroads. They will come to a fork in the road. And every once in a while, you're going to want to do the thing that you want now. And that's when you're going to have to suck it up, as they say, and do it anyway, just like you showed up to work, maybe this morning. And if you can do these things, planning, structure, intention, auditing, adapting, grit, if you can start to do these things in your personal life, God damn, are you going to be a hell of a pro. And that's what I'm really good at, turning people into pros outside the office so that you can go be a better professional inside. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, please share it with somebody. I appreciate you. And if you want to talk more about what it looks like to work with me either one-on-one or with your team inside your organization, I would love to. Just reach out to me at brian@thesuccesslift.com, or you can text me 917-709-4283. See you guys back here next week.